Eugene, it was a hectic week last week. Back to reality now. You're here, Winter Warrior, 5 o'clock in the morning. You turn up as per usual. Completely different than last week.
Yeah. It's good to be back though. Like, this is where I feel happiest. The last week was really hectic, so it's good to be back to reality. I brought the belt for all the Winter Warriors people to take photos with and see what it's all about, a little bit of inspiration. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be back in front of the Winter Warriors guys. That's something that I really enjoy, a really enjoyable part of my week, to be honest. Yeah.
The week last week, you know, you left here, it was a perfect workout, the last workout for the boys. You get over to Melbourne, the job isn't done. You've still got to get that weight off and get those boys in there. How was the week leading up? Was it hectic?
Yeah. Nah, it was relatively calm when we first. I'm going to take this belt off my shoulder because it's actually quite heavy. The start of the week was really good. Like, not too many obligations. We just had to train and just get familiar with our surroundings. But as the week got on, it really started to ramp up all the sort of media obligations and all the different events we had to do. So it got really hectic at the end there. But the team handled it well, and we got everybody to Sunday morning like in really good form. So I was pretty happy with the way the week went. So it was a good build-up.
So coming into Sunday, you know, you'll be hopeful for it, but it was a dream. Like, you know, Brad had a war.
Yeah.
Dan put on a display that was just out of this world, and then of course Izzy, you know. Brad, talk about Brad first.
Yeah, well, we covered the full spectrum, right? We had Brad like in a toe-to-toe battle, and then Dan put on a clinic, and then Israel got an early stoppage. So we covered all our bases, but yeah, Brad, a little bit of pressure. Like every fighter knows when they start the night, when they're the first person on the team to start the night, they know that they have to get the night off on the right foot. So a little bit of pressure from Brad. I know he felt that a little bit, that he really wanted to go out there and set the tone for the other guys. And man, look at that fight! Like, that fight got him a 50K, you know, fight of the night bonus. Like, it's you don't want to fight like that all the time, but sometimes you don't get a choice because there's another man in there that is controlling the outcome sometimes. So yeah, that Brad got himself into a battle with a really game opponent, and a really good early test, really early in his career in the UFC and career at lightweight. So he came through. I think he came through, showed his heart, showed some of his skill, but didn't get to show all of it because he got himself into a bit of a war. But he's in such a good position now after having that fight to like take himself to another level.
And would you be looking for him to fight again before the end of the year, or would you want to give him a spell?
I'm going to talk to him when he's in Christchurch now, just chilling out. So he'll be back in the weekend, and I'll have a chat to him and see what he wants to do. My suspicion is he probably wants to fight, but you never know. Like, that fight was a tough fight, tough on the body, tough mentally as well. So we haven't really assessed that yet, but we will.
Move on to Dan, because he was up against what everybody was saying would be his toughest test, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Alo Quinta's one of the best in the world. He's always going to be tough. We had to be very cautious, but it was really apparent really early that Dan was going to be able to control the range of the fight. So keep the fight wherever he wanted it to be, whether it be long or whether Dan wanted to, you know, make it a shorter fight. Stuff the takedowns when he attempted them. I mean, that fight couldn't go more perfect. The only way it could have gone better if Dan got the stoppage, but that's never important to us. You know, like if you can win unanimously, convincingly, without a doubt, if you can win across all the judges' scorecards. Sometimes for me, I think that's, you know, that's more profitable, if you like, than just getting a quick knockout. Yeah. I can't fault it, that fight at all. I can't find any fault in it. It was a great fight.
And then, of course, on to the big one. How were you handling everything? You were lucky you had a big team over there because you had 2 fights, you know, co-main event.
Yeah, we needed it. It was a busy night. Yeah, between everybody running around and, yeah, but it got chaotic at the end there, like, because we had obviously Dan, the co-main, and Israel, the main. It was always going to be hard for us to get back to the changing room. Like, the changing room was miles away. So anyway, they actually told us to run back to the entrance where the fighters walk out, because when you leave the cage and go, you actually go out a different way. You go through a different tunnel. What they told us to do is run back the way that you walked in, sprint back, and your uniforms will be waiting there. That's what they told us to do. So then I go out to walk out with it, you know, like, I go to walk out with Dan, and they're like, okay, look, we've changed our plan. You guys just stay cage side. There's going to be a box with your uniform in it there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then Dan finishes, and then we're waiting at the side of the cage, and we're just waiting there. No one's coming up to us. We're looking around for a box of uniforms. There's no box of uniforms, and we're waiting, and we're thinking, man, Israel's going to get introduced soon, and Dan Hooker's uniform. And then Andre leans over to me and says, you know, Israel really wanted us to be there for the walkout. He didn't want us to stay up here. And I'm like, and then I look at him, I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me this earlier? Yeah, and so then Israel's just about to walk out, and then I look at him, I just go, let's go then. And then we sprint back up the entranceway just before Israel walks out, and then we get to Israel, and we're like, nah, we came, you wanted us to be here, we're here, let's do it. And then the box of uniforms was there, waiting for us. And then, of course, I was like, well, wasn't the box of uniforms meant to be at the cage side? And they're like, nah, you're meant to come back for them. And I was like, man, yeah. So I was like...
Mixed messages.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, like, Israel, you know, everybody, you know, I've heard Israel's like, people are talking about, oh, that dance can be so distracting, you know, all that big entrance, you should have your mind on the fight. It's like, yeah, but if you're a true professional, if you're a true fighter, if you're truly in this game, it's not going to distract you. And all us cornermen were the same. We ran up and down trying to find our uniform, and up and down the cage, you know, 2 or 3 times. But when we walked out, you know, our minds were 100% focused. You know, like if you're a true professional, it's not going to make a difference. So, yeah, a little bit of chaos, but we got to the walkout like just in time anyway.
The dance, it was amazing. It was just, I was sitting beside some Aussie supporters, and I said to them, like, even if you're a Whittaker fan, you had to love that, and they agreed. And then when he won, they were the first ones that were congratulating me. You know, like it was, it sort of broke boundaries.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about the dance. I knew he was doing something. But that's just him, right? Like, you should express yourself when you're fighting. At the end of the day, that's what the whole thing is about, like expressing yourself in the cage and in the moments before the cage. It's showing people who you are. So that was important for people to see that, important for him. In the end, it set him up perfectly for that fight.
And the fight itself, it could have been over that knockdown right at the end of the round number 1. I actually thought it was a stoppage. That was a... how did you describe a display like that?
It was... Like I've said this before, I really wanted Israel to be quite conservative at the start of that fight. although I didn't tell him, if that meant us giving way around, I was happy to do that. That whole first round was about just seeing what's coming at us, figuring out what their strategy is going to be, getting to them to react, seeing if the movements that we wanted to use, if we could actually use them, and just like collecting data, I guess, like just figuring out, you know, without like putting ourselves in danger, like figuring out how this fight's going to play out. So I asked him to be conservative, I asked him to keep the distance, I asked him to feint a lot, show different looks, and yeah, for the most part he did that, and yeah, that knockdown was really unexpected. So, but like what happened was Israel got comfortable early. He got comfortable that he could stay in the pocket, so to speak. He wasn't really in the pocket, but kind of in the pocket and roll with the punches. He just got really comfortable, especially with seeing when the right hand was coming. And yeah, he set up that shot right at the end. And yeah, when in hindsight, like that was the beginning of the end, really. I don't think, like you can't recover from that. Like it's not possible to recover from that. That's gonna take it somewhere down the line, like that will come back and haunt you, that knockdown. And I think he never fully recovered from it. If you look at the knockdown, man, he properly went out. You can even speculate that he was out and the ground woke him up, which is, you know, that quite often happens. So then we went into the second round, and then he was really comfortable. Yeah. I asked him to make a couple of adjustments from the first round, but he assured me that he didn't necessarily need to make those adjustments, that he was very comfortable where he was. I still urged him to make the adjustments, but he just, yeah, it was an amazing, it was an amazing fight for him. I think one of his best in my mind, one of his best ever. Yeah.
Were you expecting it to go further?
Yeah, I expected it to go the distance and for Israel to win on points, like convincingly. Or I expected something similar to what happened, but much later on, like maybe in the last 5 minutes or the fourth round, yeah. So it came unexpectedly early, and it came in amazing fashion. Yeah, like those shots those aren't ordinary shots. Like I've said this, like when you throw your body, like when you're not in, you know, when you're not in a good position to throw a punch because you've leaned your spine over here and your core over here, and you've just been hit and it's off balanced you, so to speak, and you still managed to stop a guy like that. That's like amazing. And he did it because it's like accuracy. They weren't hard shots. He was off balance, but they were, you know, it's something I talk about, like his just unique ability to coordinate, you know, the eye, the hand, and the target in a split second. Put that punch in the exact same spot. Because that, like, in all honesty, if that punch had hit anywhere else, it would have done nothing. But it was right in the only spot it could have been on to do damage, and it was amazing. It was an amazing shot. Like, yeah, I mean that shot, those shots in particular, I remember both from in the first and the second round. Yeah, they'll resonate with me forever.
Yeah, I think that's going to be in a year's time. That one will be shown again and again and again.
Just an amazing punch, like just amazing. Yeah, how that came out.
Everybody, you know, the lead up to everybody said that he has been hitting harder. You know, you've said it yourself that he's improved. Is there any stopping him? Will he improve after that? How could you improve on that?
No, there's heaps of room to improve. That's the scary thing. Like, there's so much room to improve, especially in MMA. Like, he, you know, like he's he's a unique athlete. He can respect that. When he learns something, he learns it really fast. So his rate of learning is like, it's phenomenal. And there's other parts of your game there's other parts of his game that are immaculate, but we just don't have to show it, so we don't use it. There will become a time and there will come an opponent where I'm going to ask him to show some other parts of his game, if I need to. Show some wrestling, show that he can control someone on the ground. He's just, at the moment, in the UFC, anyway, he's just light years ahead of everybody else at the moment, so there's no need to go into any of the other realms of MMA.
Where to from here? What would you like to see?
I think he has to defend his belt. It's an old school saying that you're not, you're a true champion once you've defended your belt. And the reason they say that is because they say that holding on to your belt, keeping your belt is much harder than actually getting it in the first place. Which is understandable, like I can see that argument, and so I think he has to defend it. He just has to defend it against a whole host of middleweights that are, the best in the world. Like it just doesn't get, it doesn't get easier. It just actually gets harder, and you just can't let it overwhelm you, or you can't let it be so daunting. It's just part of life now. Now life is about just going from one big fight into the next one and just being prepared. Like there's no grace period.
Hey, thanks very much for talking to us. I want you to hold the belt up again. And,
this is it, Tony. I refuse to acknowledge that other belt. I'm not the biggest fan of interim belts. So he gave me the interim belt, and I chucked it in my shoe cupboard, and it gathered dust with my shoes because I refused to acknowledge it. We were the challenger. We had to go to another land. I use that imagery of us invading another land, another village, forcefully taking something and bringing it back to our village. And that's why I'm sitting here now, and very proud to be here with the real belt, the undisputed belt, the proper belt. No arguments.
No arguments. Cheers, mate.
No worries, Tony.
It's going to take somebody pretty special to take it away from these guys too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, now the difficult job starts. We'll do everything in our power to defend this belt and keep it in New Zealand for sure.
Brilliant, mate.